everybody, it is Calxiyn and Hunter here. If you guys enjoyed this video, you guys should become patrons over on Patreon to support the channel. But you guys should subscribe for more RWBY videos. So we are going to be talking about Adam and final bets on Adam, basically.
Do you think he's gonna die?
Maybe?
Yeah.
I
don't know. I feel like
they can't let him live at this point. Like, what would be, like, oh, are they just gonna hand him over to the Atlas military and, like, risk bringing him on the ship and all that stupid shit? What if they hand him to the... You know what I mean?
What if they hand him to the Atlas military in Cordova, or Cordova?
Cardovan,
that's the first.
They just use Adam as bait. They just, like, hey, Caroline, if you have... why don't you capture this White Fang terrorist and leave us alone? I mean, maybe... I feel like that...
What if Caroline... But I would thought it would be even weird. Like, this would never happen. What if Caroline was just like, do you want to work for us? And so we got Robo-Adam, third strike.
Oh, dear.
I don't know. That would be a terrible idea.
I don't think so. I think that
I'm spitballing here.
I think that it's one of two things, I guess. I feel like he either has to die, because he's going to keep coming after them. What else can they do but kill him at this point?
I feel like that's actually a really good idea. It's just like, hey, I know you can shoot us down, but we have the leader of the White Fang
right here.
Right
That's
there.
what I think they may do. Like,
that would
seriously,
be fucking hilarious.
I think she may be like, hey, Caroline,
I get that
we're in trouble, but hey, you know what Ironwood would like? The terrorist leader of the White Fang put in prison, an Atlas prison. So you guys can take all the credit, and then the world will like you again.
I would really enjoy, like, a scene where, like, Caroline's just like, I'm gonna hunt those motherfuckers to the ends of the earth, and they're like, here's Adam, and like, let him go. We got Adam.
I feel like that may happen because Caroline seems to care more about impressing everyone.
Oh yeah,
showing people that Atlas is the best and that
boisterism,
you know,
jingoism,
Atlas will protect you and all of that stuff. Like, Atlas is might.
Worship Atlas.
The best thing for them to do is, say Caroline does capture Team RWBY, and Ironwood is like, why the fuck would you do that? These people are, like, my friends, right? Ironwood wouldn't say it like that, right? But Caroline would get in trouble. But if Caroline takes Adam, it's like, hello, Ironwood. I got the terrorist leader of the White Fang. You know, like, it'll be great. So I'm guessing they're either going to knock him unconscious and bring him back to try to be like, hey, right? Or they're just gonna kill him, because I feel like at this point he cannot stay alive.
You can
He's
have
done.
The body. That's good too, right?
Yeah, you can say that the reason why you went in the mech suit was because you went after the terrorist leader of the White Fang, who was trying to put an attack on the communication tower, right? Like, they can manufacture this story, and so I feel like that Adam has to die. Like, there's no purpose for him anymore after they beat him again this time. Right, like, he's outlived his usefulness as a villain. He's made Blake and Yang grow all they can after the next 2 episodes, I'm assuming, right, because of the fight. Yeah. It's like Yang finally sort of gets her justice, and that her and Blake never have to live in fear.
How do you imagine it happens?
I feel like...
Because I had my guess, and I mentioned in the previous video.
Things.
But
so
yeah, go ahead.
One of them is sort of like Blake is like, well, we can't kill him or else we're just as bad. And Yang's like, no!
Hey, you know how I'm currently touching you with a robotic arm?
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Blake is going to be the more sympathetic one, whereas Yang may try to kill him and Blake doesn't necessarily want that. Or it may be like Beauty and the Beast, where Gaston just gets so obsessed he just falls off a cliff. And there is a cliffside here, so it would fit with the Beauty and the Beast stuff. Because somebody made this image of how Blake trying to grab on to Adam's sword in one of the shots is like in Beauty and the Beast when the Beast tries to grab onto Gaston's little gargoyle piece that he has trying to whack him with, and then Belle riding in on Philippe is like Blake or Yang riding in on Bumblebee. So in Beauty and the Beast, right, the Beast doesn't kill him. The Beast actually tries to rescue him, which if, you know, Yang or Blake are the Beast at this point, I would say that Blake is more Belle. Right, because she's being pursued by Gaston, and that's Adam. I think
you're tied a little bit too much to the Beauty.
Anyway, my point is that basically the Beast gives Gaston a chance and tries to pull him up, but then Gaston stabs him and then ends up falling to his own demise. I feel like they may do some sort of parallel where Adam doesn't die, Adam kills himself. You know what I mean? Like, Adam's not killed by Yang and Blake. Blake tries to give him one last chance to let it go and just forget, and he doesn't take it. And so his own rage and his own want for revenge and his own jealousy end up murdering him. I would really like that. But I like the idea of them just giving him to the Atlas military a lot better, because that basically solves all their problems. So that's not exactly the bet that I wanted to make, though. So I want to talk about what's under the blindfold. And so I actually...
That's another thing.
I had images that I wanted to show you guys, but I don't know how well they come up. You're going to lose me on screen, by the way. But doesn't it look like sort of above his blindfold he has some sort of scarring right there?
I don't know if that's scarring or...
I'm like, is that his eyebrow?
But if you look at, but with that looks like it could just be like the cell shading, but that one over there...
They can't see which ones you're talking about. Oh. So the one on the...
So on there, if you're watching, it'll be on their right. Just kind of by the center of his face is in the shadow, and you see a dark splotch there.
Yeah.
But that's in the shadow, so that can't be... If it's in the shadow, then that can't be cell shading.
Yeah.
Because cell shading doesn't work. It can't be shading on shading and cell shading.
Oops. Hold on.
So does he not have eyeballs?
Somebody else had a better shot. You can sort of see in this shot as well. It seems like he has some scarring. But some people mentioned that he seems to have one on his other cheek, and it seems to be a line going down like this. So it seems like he has some scarring. So it's like...
Are we going to learn
about
Adam's... Are we going to learn about...
Here's what I'm thinking. Is Adam just deformed? Is Adam blind? Or was Adam a silver-eyed warrior who got his eyes ripped out, and that's why he hates humans, because he thinks that they did it because he's a faunus and we're just trying to torture him, but really it was Salem's people that were dealing with silver-eyed warriors before.
I don't think that would be that cool, because then it would just be like you oopsie-daisied racism.
Well, I said...
I don't know if oopsie-daisied racism is the best way to go
But I talked about this before.
But it would be interesting.
I've always liked the idea of Adam being a silver-eyed warrior, because silver-eyed warriors are supposed to preserve life, right? We know that now. But
then if he's a silver-eyed warrior, what would happen? Then what would they be like? Well, we can't kill him, then we're going to have to keep him around? Like, are we going to have a fucking redemption arc for Adam?
Sort of my idea was more that now when Yang looks at Ruby, she sees Adam's silver eyes, and she can't get that image out of her head. Because silver-eyed warriors are supposed to be great warriors, right? Like in the legends, they don't necessarily say that they're to do good. And that conversation about preserving life was between Ruby and Maria. So my idea was sort of that Yang and Blake looking into his eyes would be sort of shooketh. If that makes sense, that Yang would look at her sister and see Adam, right? That's why I sort of like the idea of the silver eyes, because even if Adam is gone, she looks at Ruby and she wonders, is my sister going to turn into that? Like, is she going to turn into some bloodthirsty person because she has this silver-eyed warrior power? That was my original idea. I don't know if they'll go in that direction or not. I think that would be cool. Just because then even if they kill off Adam, that's a conversation for Yang and Ruby to have, that Yang is sort of struggling with this silver-eyed power they don't know a lot about, right? Or, you know, could my sister turn into something like that? Is that what happens to silver-eyed warriors? And then she sort of debates, well, no, Maria's not like that, but Maria also got her eyes ripped out. Like, it's sort of an inner conflict. But I think that it would, even though it would be oopsie-poopsie racism, I kind of like that idea. He's definitely deformed. We know that. I kind of like it, though, if he was blind this whole time and he was somehow still fighting. Like, what the fuck? You know,
he's just the world's luckiest man.
And maybe it would be sort of metaphorical, like he's literally blinded to his own actions, right? He's literally blinded by rage and jealousy and wrath. But I feel like if they add all that stuff, maybe they could add some stuff. Maybe he survives, maybe he doesn't survive. I imagine that if he does die, it'll be like he's about to kill Blake, and then Yang comes in, saves the day, and then as Adam kind of gets the upper hand, and they're kind of soliloquizing, and maybe in that moment, you know, he gets the thing ripped off, and you learn more about him and his past. And then it's right at like the crescendo of his whatever, he gets stabbed in the back by Blake. Here's the other thing that I think.
And then we get a sort of like hug moment between Yang and Blake, and they run off. It's
parallels, right? Because Adam kills that person to save the Gira, and Sienna says, if Adam didn't do that, you would have died, right? And so if Yang does the same thing to Adam and Blake is sort of a little horrified, Yang may have that same sort of reaction. Like, if I didn't do it, you would have died, right? So it's sort of calling back to Volume 3 when Blake sort of can't differentiate, I guess, Yang's rage and her thing against Mercury to how Adam started to get out of control and get out of hand, and that could be really good character development for both of them, because then it's sort of like, well, is Yang exactly like Adam, right? Because it would be basically, even for the audience, it would be the same thing. What's the difference between Adam killing that person to save Gira, right, when Adam was still a relatively normal person that didn't seem like a crazy person, and Yang killing Adam to save Blake? And so it's sort of a moral question. And people even argue, I don't think Adam was necessarily in the wrong back then. Like, if that's what he had to do to save Gira, that's just what you gotta do. Like, I understand Gira's reasoning, but I never saw that as, wow, Adam's so terrible, he killed that person, how could he? Like, no, it kind of makes sense. Like, that's just what happens when you fight. And he says that to Blake later to try and manipulate her, but I'm saying in that one instance, I think it made sense for him to do that to rescue Gira. And so it's sort of like, I don't want to say moral questions, but it's sort of those parallels that sort of come back and forth.
When it comes to like a batshit crazy abuser, I don't want to like, I would rather explore his mentality and his flaws and rather not explore moral relativism, you know?
But it would be more towards Yang. Like, it would be more for Blake to say, is Yang just like Adam, or is he different? You know what I mean? So it wouldn't be necessarily, oh, Adam's redeemable because Yang did the same thing, or any of that. It would be sort of more like Blake has to struggle with whether she thinks that Yang is any different and all that stuff, because she's kind of struggled with that question before. But that's only if Yang has to kill Adam. I genuinely really like the idea of them just handing him over to Caroline.
Not even handing, like, in, like, an official sense. They just, like, drag him behind Bumblebee and throw him on a lap.
Basically.
I enjoy that.
I like Adam killing himself. I think the most likely, not killing himself, but killing himself, you know what I mean?
I'm sorry, what? He's not killing himself. He's just, you know, killing himself.
No, like Gaston, like how he fell from the cliff because of his own trying to kill the Beast again, even though the Beast tried to save him. Like, because Yang and Blake both killing him sort of brings up this sort of, I don't want to say it's a moral thing again, because I don't think that's the right word for it, but it brings up sort of like, with Yang, it's like, is Yang as bad as Adam? And with Blake, it's sort of like, will Blake sort of be scarred by murdering him? Like, does she think that that was the right thing to do? Like, sort of to struggle with those questions. So if Adam just falls off a cliff, or whatever, like, if he just ends up killing himself because of his own sort of, you know, his own drive to kill Blake so badly that he'll still do it even after another chance to, hey, stop, right? You know, again, sort of like the Beauty and the Beast thing. That way nobody has to actually murder him, right? And I'm pretty sure they did that in Beauty and the Beast too, so the Beast just didn't go, wah!
Also,
and just
is he not the leader of the White Fang anymore? Because he was kind of fucked off for a month.
Everybody,
is the White Fang
all those people in the
Is the White Fang even an organization anymore?
I think that Gira is making a new brotherhood.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
And so,
from the ashes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like still arresting Adam would be good PR for Atlas. I'm just saying.
I'm really looking for. I also love if in I don't know, in the next season there's a scene where they see like Cordova captured the elusive White Fang terrorist, and then you just see Yang like, what an asshole.
Yeah, I know. Something like that. So, final bets. I do think that Adam is going to be, let's just say, out of commission.
I think
he's either going to die or he's not going to be a part of the story anymore.
Yeah,
that's basically my final bet on that.
It's weird because he's been a part of the show for so long, to see him just die, to have it be like a definitive end. I don't know.
Villains have to end sometimes.
They do have.
They do, and I think now is the time.
I'm not saying I'm against it. It's just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if RWBY wants to pull that trigger, because they didn't
under
pull
his
it
mask,
last time.
I'm pretty sure he's deformed in some way. Whether it's a silver-eyed deformation or whether something else happened to him, like that people like somehow cut him up because he was a fawn, like whatever the case may be. I think it would be cool to have the silver-eyed warrior stuff, but again, I don't know if they necessarily want Yang to grapple with that question. I think it would be sort of cool though that Yang looks into Adam's eyes when she kills Adam, and they're the same ones as RWBY. And that's such a rare trait that how can you not see
also,
someone
like
that?
You dated this guy? Like, have you not seen his eyes before?
Maybe not.
That seems like a bit of a
plot. It's like online dating when you don't see the other person's face and they catfish you or whatever happens to people.
It's a bit of a plot contrivance.
Well, maybe. I mean, Blake didn't even know about Silver Eyes, though, until they were all in the bottom of the thing, so maybe she just didn't see it relevant to be like,
he wears green contacts.
Adam had those things.
It'd be even better, like, if you just see
Maybe they had sex in the dark, okay? Like, I don't know.
Well, they can see in the dark, they're faunus! But I don't know, it'd be interesting if he had scarring and you never knew what it was, so I'm like, oh, he went through something bad and we'll never know. Mm-hmm. Like, that would even be interesting to me, the ambivalence of it.
But yeah.
That, like, he's, like, they could have a scene where it's just like, Blake's just like, he was like so many other angry men.
So those are our final bets. Mm-hmm. I hope that we get it right. That's it. Anyway, we will see you guys later. Bye. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you guys want to support the channel, you guys should be patrons just like our wonderful patrons whose names will come on the screen now. $10 patrons get videos sometimes 2 weeks in advance, sometimes 3 weeks in advance, basically much, much earlier than anyone else. They can also request us to do a video for them, so this could be a reaction, a theory, a discussion, anything like that. Our $5 patrons get a week in advance early access or somewhere within that time frame, so between 2 days early and 7 days early basically, but usually it's 7 days early because I'm good with my scheduling. Anyway, our $1 patrons and all of our patrons above the $1 tier get access to our Discord server, so if you guys want to talk with us, talk with other fans of whatever you're watching right now, you guys can, and I hope that we will see you there. Bye.